today we will cover everything from wallet innovation like in front of us and also decentralized architecture. So all of that are very interesting. So thank you very much for being here as well as our sponsor. For the first speaker, we have Francesco Andreoli from the Consensus. Will introduce us for MetaMask Snaps, showing how it transforms wallet experiences, features like multi-factor authentication and non-Ethereum protocol support. So let's give more welcome to Francisco.
Awesome. Yeah, speaking with the mic, you guys can hear me. But is it? Awesome. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I cannot move that much because the mic is here, so I will just stay here and speak. But how are you? How is everyone? Like, you still alive, or everything is starting, right? So let's get it started a little bit. I don't know, like I'm doing a lot of talks in general around snaps. You probably heard a lot of 437 kind of general talk, but this is a little bit something fresh. That there is one specific category called account management snaps that I really like, and it kind of combining everything. So I would kind of talk a little bit about this. For anybody that doesn't know me, this is me at Denver wearing this fancy costume, but yeah, it was fun. And yeah, for quite a longer time, I'm advocating for DevRel and developer advocacy program, and yeah, and if anybody wanna play stuff like chess, wanna try to kite surf, I'm always learning new things. So feel free always to kind of chime in. But apart of that, I'm leading bunch of developer activation, not just on the MetaMask side, but also on the linear side. And I'm definitely excited around snaps and all our, let's say, developer tooling portfolio. That is basically today the biggest one are MetaMask SDK if you want to integrate specific especially for games or for specific use case, and then delegation toolkit is one of those. So if you guys are working with let's say use case that you want to delegate specific action, delegation toolkit is something that we're working on. So also feel free to come in, and I see some partners already doing that, so that's great. And yeah, and snaps is the third main category that I've been advocating for quite a long time. The cool thing is that now more than ever people are building single dedicated snap for specific use case, and there are a lot. I can talk a little bit more about that. So this is kind of a big thank you because we're recording. I want to shout out also my colleague Alex Jupiter, because I literally told this kind of line of thinking, and so we kind of you will see what I will talk a little bit about. So everybody kind of know this. This is kind of is the status quo, but it's also the history. We started with this kind of SRP, and kind of was always the idea, what are we doing next? How we can make the UI or the user experience much stronger and more interchain kind of usable, right? So between different accounts, between different kind of target audience, and there are different ways to describe that. But this is how kind of it started, and this is kind of the way that we see things going. But basically, today you have your SRP experience specific on that, and thanks to Snaps, this kind of extension adds-on that that extension provide today, we can go and we can kind of build a much more extensible user experience that is based on specific journeys, right? So I don't know how many of you think that SRP will be there in the future. I'm a big believer that we will delegate more actions, especially for light accounts, and I think we also need to have not just secure way, but also visible and transparent way we can delegate these things. So how we can do that, and you can actually create this environment for everything, is through a specific category of snaps called account management snap. Okay, a little bit I just introduced a little bit what are snaps. How many developers do we have in the room? So that I can actually fine tune. Okay, cool. I have 3 or 4 kind of live demo session, but I'm not sure we will have time. There was a 1-hour workshop that I did yesterday, but I think I just want to give you also an idea what does it mean also account management in the snap scenario. But snaps are nothing else as kind of add-ons for the extension that we have today, and they're kind of single independent app that are automatically coordinating and creating actions for the extension specifically. And the cool thing is that you can literally install them as two clicks, right? You just go on your Snap kind of like whitelist / directory. You choose like which kind of like use case you want to install, depending on whatever you're either building or using. Oh, thanks for increasing that. There are different kind of like category that we were speaking about. Obviously, like today we're going more on the account management Snap, but I don't know, like if you use, for example, the Solana Snap or like the Starkware Snap. Basically, like with 2 clicks, you basically had an on-EVM compatibility to MetaMask, and a lot of people did the Solana Snap like 6 months ago because they wanted to be eligible for more airdrops. But obviously, there are different like use case. So everything that is non-EVM compatible, and there is even the BTC Snap, meaning you can do BTC native transaction, adding like the BTC Snap on your extension. Is actually quite powerful. But there are also like different like use case. Think about for gamers, you have some snaps doing batch transaction, automatic sign-ins. And there are different ways also, like for privacy. I really like the DID one, so it's leveraging Verax, for example, one snap, and basically it's building automatic public attestation on top of like your transaction. That's actually quite cool. And for gaming, there is also like some on the machine notification that basically adding this snap is automatically triggering some specific event and notifying you of what is happening. So today there are like 50 official Snap being built, but there are like, I don't know how many, like for the past like 4 years people are building Snap using Flask, is the canary version of MetaMask. So everything that is happening on the developer side, you can also like developer environment specific, you can use this, it's basically the Ping Fox, and yeah, so we are advocating a lot during hackathons too. The cool thing is that so the extension today, I mean, is working with specific like wallet API. There is a full list, but if you also like want to interact with your tech stack with specific external API, this is basically like the idea also behind Snap, because every Snap is kind of like an independent app and can work with any API and interact with any API out there, and it's kind of like a containerized action trigger. Yeah, that's basically what I just said, right? So it's fully isolated, and the cool thing is that you really see, and it's fully transparent in terms of like actions and specific like transaction. This is basically what is happening with the wallet guard Snap, for example. The moment that you're installing the Snap, you really you're seeing also like how it's interacted, and also like you can see not just source code specific, but also like where the Snap is hosted and the specific like author information, and also like the accesses. Here, for example, you can even see like access the internet. So important also to understand that it will answer a lot of questions that people are having all the time, is that there is no way that extension is auto triggering some specific actions because the snaps is injecting some files. So that's actually totally like untrue. So all the permission that the snap is asking to the extension are clarified here, and they're super, and anytime you can also revoke access of the snap. So in the setting you have a specific like snap setting, and you can also revoke access if you don't care about the snap anymore. So like 3 main things also like to kind of like mention. So it's full self-custodial, so meaning like when you have your snap is kind of like activated, and you can basically do whatever you want. For example, if you have your BTC snap installed, you can actually do like on-chain BTC transaction specific without installing the snap every time. They are basically like live in your wallet, and also like important, as I mentioned before, you can install, disinstall, revoke access, give access all the time while you're like running specific use case. I will not talk a little bit about the history, but basically like everything started because like the question was how we can get non-EVM compatible support for MetaMask. That was at CosmoCon, I think like three years ago or something, and that's kind of like how everything started. And then it kind of like extended in other like use case, like privacy use case, the ID use case, and account management is one big part, because people want to see like wallet, want to see delegation of specific like auctions. And yeah, so I will not like demo. I have some actually like some demos that I can show later. But if today you're going into the directory, in the account management snap, you have 3 main snaps. One is Silent Shard. I don't know if you guys are working already or used before either Silent Shard, Saffron, or Capsule. Capsule is probably the biggest MPC wallet out there, out of those three sub-snap. But basically you can interact doing kind of like account recovery, but it's on kind of like their tech stack. And the cool thing is that those guys fully transparently building a snap, also allowing users on the extension to install, for example, the capsule snap and automatically create a light MPC wallet that has fully recovery, for example, through mobile. Capsule is also working on the mobile recovery, and you're literally leveraging other tech stack for the benefit of the specific extension. How kind of like everything's work in the background, just to give you like a little bit an idea. So on the left you see when you're creating a snap. So you have your users, your dApp is basically like you're invoking the dApp that automatically is connecting to your extension, and the snap is registering the account through a new API. They're not just new, we launched this during ECC, they're basically called keyring API. And also like if you guys are hacking or they will be hacking, like we are also like having some bounties around keyrings. But basically the snap is evoking those APIs, creating the account. The cool thing is that on the right side you will see when the snap is installed, what is basically happening, right? So the dApp basically every time that you are submitting a request is directly speaking and interacting with the extension only. And in the background, this is always what will happen, that the snap is both submitting the request and responding directly back to the extension through the keyring API. So it's kind of like a fully auto siloed request method, meaning like the users is not interacting with the snap anymore outside installing it at the beginning. I mean, I have a bunch of like tour on the docs, but the cool thing is that we have a custom EVM like account that you can play with while you're doing an account management scenario, and also like we have also like a template snap for you to build with. So we spoke actually with someone before that built like a templatized simple keyring snap, but it's nothing else as a template snap that you can actually like take and fork from here. And build and leveraging with their technology. Okay, there are different like kind of like allow list criterias, but obviously those are the main one, right? It's fully self-custodial. You can actually like going through an audit, that's later, but at the beginning you're just syncing with our team, and automatically will push like a first version. There will be some iteration, and yeah, it's very tricky like when you're speaking about private key management, especially for the account management snap, because we really like want to be sure that we are pushing things on the allow list that are strong also like for users. Okay, and one thing also like Flask does not enforce like allow lists that because basically that's all on the developer extension. Okay. The reason also of this talk, and this is kind of like a new slide, is we're speaking about account abstraction 437, 702 support, but the cool thing is that account management snap already supporting 437 from the start. What does it mean? That basically you can implement all these specific workflow that are supported by these two EAPs. And I give you like an example. This is the Byconomy snap. So basically it's an account management snap developed independently by Byconomy, and I love these guys, by the way, especially on the SDK side. But basically what you can do here is creating new light accounts for other users that are not managing SRPs. So it's actually super strong, and I want to show you like a small demo. But basically what is happening here is that you're connecting directly. So now what we're doing is that we're installing the snap on localhost. You see I basically push connect. You see all the Byconomy smart account requests that are doing. So add and control Ethereum accounts, access the internet, store and manage data, display dialogues, window feed MetaMask. So what you're doing here is that you're installing the snap. You're looking what is happening. Always remember that there are different versions. This is obviously like I think 3 months ago like version. But basically what is happening here is you are continuing, and automatically what the Byconomy account abstraction snap is creating a light account in the background. And basically that's what you see is a snap account with specific like zero matic right now. and you have basically a new account delegated from the main extension on top of this extension today. So basically, with this account, you can sign transactions, do specific things. You can also like setting up specific recovery tree. You can also like do auto payments for gas fee, for example, for those light accounts. So it's actually very cool because you could build like now a dApp interacting with the light account that is fully kind of like independent. So the users will not pay for any gas fee, could auto sign specific like smart contract, or can also like define some specific guardians for like social recovery, for example. These are some of the methods. Basically, you can build sign message by guardian. Now, for example, we're onboarding the guardian in through the light account. You can set up recovery and deploy an account. So there are different kind of like things. You can approve token paymaster. That's what I basically mentioned. That basically you pay the gas fee specific for the light account. And then the other thing is. Yeah, that's basically an example. So now we install the Snap through Flask. That's basically the current version of MetaMask, is the developer version. And we're now doing a swap with the light account in Uniswap. So we're defining the account, we're swapping directly, and automatically like the gas fee being paid are coming from the main account. And as you can see, there was no specific like signing, but that's basically like the demo, and I think it's super useful because this is something that right now you can do with let's say specific like light wallets, but in literally like 2 seconds we are able to create a second account that doesn't require specific option, because the Snap is basically taking care. It's a sort of kind of like an AI agent for the account specific. So that's one example on the account management category. Yeah, so there is a full like 437 kind of like breakdown on in the doc for the account management Snap supporting 437. We have also like a cool template Snap called 437 account Snap that you can actually take, fork it, and build on top of it. So basically what you saw here on the Bioeconomy side, this is something that is happening also like on the background. I put links here, and for anybody that want also the presentation, I can send you over like to send to your tech team. Also, like I put here some of the docs that we were working on that I think like they're the most useful. This is kind of like an intro around beyond kind of like SRPs and where kind of account management flow is going. We have here like a feature around custom EVM accounts that you want to basically create an account management Snap. This is like for non-EVM accounts. And this is the non-EVM accounts kind of like Snap that I show you on the 437 support. And then this is like just the Snaps allow list categorized for the account management. It's basically the screenshot that I showed you before. So like let's, I think we are over, but these are kind of like the key takeaways around like that you want to take home on this beautiful Sunday. And thanks for like coming like for a talk and not being out. But first main take is obviously like as I mentioned, Snaps are fully siloed. You basically can interact with other and external API that are basically built by let's say other technology. Here this is also interesting, like current API and MetaMask extension support all kind of FA type extension and the EVM EOAs. What does it mean? Also like you can interact with not just external API, but also like they support different standards. They are not just extension based. And also like what we saw here is that account management Snap are also like compatible with 437 API in Flask, and similar for what you see in the wallet API directory on the MetaMask docs. We have now also like a fully like Snaps dedicated docs page with all the API listed that you can interact with. And yeah, and then let's solve together all the SRP kind of like experience that we want to kind of like push more user to, especially on the light account kind of use case. these are two kind of QR code. One is for the users out there, showing like what this allow list and this directory of snaps look like and what you can do. So this is not just for account management snaps, but it's also like for other snaps. And this is also like just to show that if you guys are building, I saw already some people having like specific snaps being built. We have a full dedicated kind of like learning guides, workshops, and support for dedicated individual contributors, but also like startups that want to leverage their technology to build snaps on top of it. Yeah, so thanks so much, and yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions.
Thank you very much, Francisco. Big round of applause to you. We still have 1 to 2 minutes, so
Nice.
if there's anything you would like to add on, feel free, or we can open the floor for the Q&A for a very short one. Yeah.
No, feel free to ask question. I just also want to say, like, check it out. I'm excited about stuff like MetaMask SDK that is allowing basically seamless like onboarding directly without going through like specific like logins, and it's also mobile friendly, meaning with mobile you can scan QR code and automatically doing the dApps login. And the other things that I'm very excited about is delegation toolkit. We have our colleague here like Shintaka is building a lot of like cool stuff around the delegation toolkit and dApps. So basically this thing allowing you to delegate and trigger specific options. And delegation toolkit is nothing else as an SDK you can actually take and leverage for either delegating account, but also like triggering specific options like could be gas fee, payments, everything that you want to do with light accounts, right? Even account recovery or delegating account recovery to some other accounts. So these kind of like two main things. And if you look at the developer, let's say developer umbrella around MetaMask, you have basically like snaps, you have MetaMask SDK, and then delegation toolkit. So those are the three main things. And obviously like there are different like products under the same consensus umbrella. Any questions? Yes.
So last time I checked the snaps, the user experience, like the user interface, it was not I was not able to edit the user experience.
Yes.
Like the UI part of the snaps. Is it now open for the
Yes.
user experience as well?
Yeah, so now basically, so you probably saw the snaps when we had a lot of like, let me check here, when we're still on Flask, right? So basically like, as a developer for installing the snap, so there was no kind of like open, was still in open beta, right? So basically today, if you're going on snaps.metamask.io, you literally see all the snap being listed. Now there are like 50 plus, and there are a mix of like category that I just show you, right? There are from like account management is a small one, but it's super relevant. That's why like I want to do this talk. But also like the interoperability snaps are something that is that are super interesting. And now interoperability snap is nothing else as NodeVM snaps, right? So you have the Cosmos team. The biggest one are the Solana, the Starknet, but there are also like different one where you see non-compatible. But basically what you will do is, for example, for the Solana snap, you just go installs. You can always see like in full transparency where the code is hosted, where the repo, who are the authors. You can contact them directly, and also like seeing specific descriptions. But basically what you're doing is you're opening and taking directly like option directly with I already have installed, and yeah, I can show you also like what you will see. This is my Flask, so it's like remember your password always. But basically what you're seeing here is you are going in settings, you have all the snaps. Now they moved it, there was the Flask update, but also like you see all the snaps being installed, and you can actually like see, okay, Solana snap is it's been like where is the origin, what's the version, what is doing, and the current permissions. And the cool thing is that what I was speaking about is that you can revoke permission, you can disconnect the snap. And right now, for example, on Flask, if I want to do specific like Solana transaction on mainnet, I can just do it from the extension without going in other environments. But the big difference now, I just did it on Flask, but I mean this snap is there are all the snaps that you see in the allow list. You're able to install them in the main extension, so they're directly on the main extension. And make sure always check these are the main allow listed snap. So and we launched this now it's almost like 1 year, I think a little bit more than 1 year birthday, because we launched that at permissionless. So it's been growing quite well, and we see very specific use case. They're impacting kind of like specific journey. For example, you have always the the airdropper that just want to have the specific non-EVM compatible snap installed to check other like airdrops. You have like a person that care more about, for example, privacy and or even like security. And this you should definitely check out like this the security snaps. Security snaps is super, especially like there is the wallet guard snap, and really like also like there are a couple of those the block fence snap. But basically before you're signing, he's doing an extra check-in on the transaction that you're doing. So if the contracts were interacting with malicious contract, and he's doing like cross-check with directly with either the block fence or the wallet guard libraries. So it's extra points before you're interacting, but and it's kind of like flagging you out. But a lot of people don't want this, for example. That's why it's kind of like it's the beauty of different like use case scenario.
Okay,
And-
thank you
sorry.
very much. Yeah, that's all right. I would say that is very interesting additional point as well, and thank you very much for your question. So once again, Francisco from Consensus, big applause to him. Yeah.